Hello and welcome to this episode of the Work in Progress podcast. I am your host, Colleta Macharia, and I'm very delighted that you could join me today. My first career was in the world of accounting and finance. And when we were in college, my friends and I sometimes would joke and say, we wouldn't want to marry accountants because we wouldn't want to be subjected to having to source 3 quotations every time we needed to make a purchase in the house. And of course, there is much more to accounting than debits and credits and number crunching and asking for quotations. I find that there are a lot of transferable skills and insights that we can pick from the world of accounting and apply to life. And in this episode, I want to look at 3 of those insights. The first insight that I want to look at is basis. Accounting statements are prepared on the basis of generally accepted accounting principles and certain concepts and conventions, and also in compliance with international accounting standards or local accounting standards, as the case may be. And what happens when these standards and principles are applied? Then there is consistency from period to period and also from region to region, as long as it's the same standards that have been applied. Similarly, in life, when we operate from principles and standards, then there we have consistency. There is consistency in our behavior, and we have a basis of reference for the choices and decisions that we make. We're not just acting on a whim. I remember when I was in high school, one of our dorm prefects, especially in our first year, as Form 1s, she used to exhort us and tell us, hey, have a backbone, have a mind of your own. Don't just flow with the current or do what everybody is doing. Think through the choices that you're making. And I thought that was very sound advice. So when we are operating from a set of credible principles and standards, then we can, when things don't happen as they ought, then we can look back. We can examine and see, have we violated a principle or a standard? And if we have, then what corrective action do we need to make? In the book of Ephesians chapter 4 and verse 14, this is what it says. Then we will no longer be infants, tossed back and forth by the waves and blown here and there by every wind of teaching and by the cunning and craftiness of people in their deceitful scheming. And let me tell you, my friends, in life, if you do not stand for something, you will fall for anything. So ensure that you have your set of principles and standards that you operate from. The second principle that we can pick from accounting is internal control systems and procedures. And when it comes to a company, this is what I would refer to as the playbook, the one that guides, for example, financial transactions. And we joked about the 3 quotations. And that's an example of an internal control that an organization might apply to govern its purchases. And it's not a one-size-fits-all. Different organizations apply different controls to safeguard their assets and to achieve their goals. Now, when it comes to life, these are the boundaries that we put around ourselves to order our day and our actions. And again, this will differ from person to person, from family to family. Examples of boundaries will be boundaries in relationships or boundaries around time, boundaries around money, boundaries around how we work. I know people who say that they do their deep work early in the morning, probably between 6 and 8, and so they do not like to schedule meetings with other people during that time. The third insight is regular reconciliation. Each organization has its own accounting period, and this is predetermined, predefined, and on top of that accounting period, there will be divisions, whether it's the quarter, end of the quarter, or even end of the month. And what happens when that time comes is that organizations do their period closing. You hear them talking about month-end closing or year-end closing, where everybody is rushing to ensure that all their claims have been put in. And so this is important because it's a time also when they will do reviews and they will examine and see, what are the variances in terms of, say, between the budget and the actual expenditure. And in life as well, it's important to have regular reconciliations in our key relationships, for example. If we offend someone or if we know that something is not right in a certain relationship, it's important to approach this person and ensure that we reconcile our differences, or at least we do our best to ensure that we resolve whatever is outstanding between us. And the Bible encourages us to not let the sun go down when we are angry. Another reconciliation we can make is with regard to our goals and the things that we have set to achieve for ourselves. Taking the time to regularly examine, where am I with regard to this particular goal, and where did I intend to be? What are the gaps, and how can I take corrective action? So in the previous episode, I concluded by saying that when we are pursuing our goals or when we are tracking our progress, it's not about perfection, but it's about being consistent. And I find that accounting has many insights for us on how we can remain consistent in terms of our behavior, our actions, and our choices. So when we are mindful of the three insights that I talked about, and that is with regard to basis for our decisions and choices. Second one being internal controls, or the boundaries that we put in place to govern or to guide ourselves, or even to order our actions. And number three, regular reconciliations, regular review. Then we will be setting ourselves up to enhance our consistency and to ensure that we remain in the game for the long haul. I wish you a fantastic week, keep shining, and see you on the next episode. The Work in Progress podcast is brought to you by Cogent Afrique. Visit www.cogentafrique.com to check out learning and development opportunities for you, your team, organization, and family.